the worker that's fixing the broken window an opportunity to perform a service, and he would get paid for it. But that the opportunity cost is that he cannot use those however amount of money he spent on fixing the window on something else. So that's the idea of opportunity cost. And the unintended consequences is pretend like he had purchased something and he was going to resell it for a profit. Then the unintended consequences is down the road what's going to happen with this. What it's a more far-reaching vision than just tomorrow. It's more far-reaching vision than, say, let's just put a Band-Aid on this or fix, because there might be consequences for that Band-Aid. You know, excuse my glasses, I lost an arm.
It's all right.
I do this. So yeah, that's what I learned about Bastiat, and I thought it was good.
And the question from the study guide that we were discussing is that in this case, the personal and the societal economic principles really were in harmony. And she said, if that's the case, personal and societal economic principles are always in harmony. Is this true of other types of principles? That they're always going to be in harmony? And she suggested that we write down some examples, or to think about some examples of principles that are just all, whether it's the personal and the societal, how those are still going to be in harmony with each other. And my dad was just saying how not getting too far in our obligations, not having too many obligations is a personal that we can't meet and take care of, is a personal as well as a societal economic principle. So they're in harmony there.
I thought of two. One is that free will works better than force. Even though it doesn't seem like it does, sometimes you're tempted to take your child and pick them up and put them where you want them to be. And sometimes you're tempted to, the governments are tempted to make people take care of the poor, but really free will works better. And the other one I thought of that is that words are powerful. If the meaning of the word is changed, even subtly, the system is changed.
And that's personal and societal
It is.
economic principles.
Yeah. I don't know if that's stated as a principle, but I think it is.
Yeah, well, and she talked about that in her first two lectures. I know she talks about we have to know what the word meant when it was used, because changing it changes the whole world view of what's being spoken about, and how they have managed to change the definition of a lot of the words we use in government, and what a difference that makes to those principles. They do. They change. I like the way you said that they change the whole system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the first one you said? I want to.
Oh, I said free will works better than force.
And what's that have to do with the economic principles?
Oh, that's so, we are forced, sometimes societies force people to pay for certain things. They are forced to pay for, well, who knows what.
Any tax.
All
Any
sorts
tax
of
is a
stuff.
forced payment, right?
Yes, and there's not a real good system of accountability for taxes. So yeah, it comes down to taxes is one force. It's a forced contribution, quote unquote. It's not a free will offering.
Yeah. And I have a perfect example of that. In Orem, the care tax. I was talking to somebody the other day and she said, oh, I can't vote for that guy, he's against the care tax. Well, first of all, it's on the ballot. He doesn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
No matter what he says, everybody's going to vote the way they want. But the thing that that is so hard for me to understand. I went away from that conversation thinking, now that's a beautiful woman. I know her well. However, she has a completely different understanding of the proper role of government
Yes.
than I do. Because this is someone who's conservative and who would never say, let's force everyone, to pay taxes to feed this person. But she doesn't see the difference between food welfare and arts welfare. It's the same. Why should we force everyone to pay to provide arts experiences to the underprivileged?
Or to whoever's going to avail themselves of the opportunity.
Right, and how many people in Orem are deprived of culture and arts? I mean, seriously, I have never been in a place where there were so many opportunities for free this and free that, to go to plays at the schools, and they do all these great things, and
Yeah.
anyway, but to me, that's a welfare, a forced, instead of a free will. And my comment to her was, if my budget is tight at my house, we don't go to the theater. If the budget is tight in Orem and they're saying we don't have any money, we shouldn't be going to the theater. I mean, it just makes sense to me. But she has a different understanding of the proper role of government and free will and force.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Good. She asked another question that I really thought was interesting. When she was talking about the free market and having things really be about free will in the economy, she said, is competition good or bad? Is there a higher principle that we could live and get the same results than this principle of competition? And I thought, what an interesting thing, because if we want the free market has competition. That's what makes it go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it run, is the competition, and that everyone gets to kind of choose and make things happen and offer things for cheaper and thereby succeed and prosper. But then when you think about it, sometimes when you call somebody competitive, that's not really a compliment. Sometimes you can be competitive to a fault, for sure, and it can bring out some negative things. And so I thought, what an interesting question. Is competition good or bad? And is there a higher principle that we get the same results? Because force isn't a higher principle than competition. So is there,
I think
what do you
that
think?
competition is not inherently good or bad. Just like guilt is not inherently good or bad. But guilt used to change your behavior and to change your thoughts is good. Guilt used excessively to feel like you are of no worth and you might as well not even try is bad. So competition used to regulate the market, make the products better, have a strong economy, have good products, and build the wealth is good. Competition used to blast each other and to tear down is bad. So I think the competition is not inherently good or bad.
Or I was not thinking another application of competition that would not be good is if it's like synthetic. It's competition that's created, that's not just the natural competition.
Because look at you could even consider competition to be what they use in government today, the class warfare kind of thing. That can be considered a competition, but that's not a true competition. I think a free will competition is more like the free capital system, right? Where everybody is able to share their ideas and people get together and share those ideas together, brainstorm, come up with better ideas, and create businesses and good products. So it's not, I think exactly what you're saying. It's not bad. It's what moves our society forward. Look how many inventions we've had in the last 200 years because we have a free capital system. And those are squelched.
That made me think too that maybe we don't have to think of ourselves individually, in our families, locally, in our nation, as in competition with each other in a way that we have to win. Maybe that's part of the problem with competition, and maybe that's not really living in harmony with a good principle of competition, the good side of it. If we're trying to think, we're in competition, that means we are trying to win, and that means you'll have to lose. Because I was thinking of, again, from hearing the city council candidates talking about businesses leaving Orem. And I was thinking, you know, that's actually benefiting Lehigh quite a bit, because that's where they're going. And so, yes, they're leaving Orem, but I mean, it is competition between Orem and Lehigh as far as there's one of those cities is going to have that business and is going to probably profit from the business because of taxes and other things. But it doesn't have to be we're trying to beat Lehigh, and it doesn't have to be we're going to steal businesses from other places and bring them to Orem from somewhere else. It's what can we do to make it so that businesses want to just crop up right here?
I think that's a perfect example, because as you said that, I'm thinking, well, they may have gone to Lehigh, but that still benefits Utah.
Right.
I mean, it's still in the valley, right? And I think we all benefit from that. And so, yeah, you can look at competition like this, or you can look at competition how it benefits society as a whole.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, where Audrey is going with it. And I was thinking also, competition is a good thing in governments internationally. We see how they're trying to change that. Let's all be the same, you know, with the euro, making all of Europe the same. There's no competition. What happened? I mean, they've all fallen apart because they all jumped on the same wagon. And they haven't thought for themselves. And they all went the same direction, that socialist direction, and now they're all falling apart. So I think competition in governments is a good thing, you know, and it's not always good when you hear, let's be like Germany. No, let's not.
Yeah.
Let's be like Americans, you know.
Yeah.
Competition.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking while you were talking about that, when you were talking about when I win, you have to lose, that to me is not competition, that is pride.
Oh, yeah.
And when we do that, nobody wins. Nobody wins. But if I make a better product than someone else has made, and I can feed my family, and because that didn't work for them, they're motivated to either come up with another idea or improve their product, then everyone wins.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too when you were saying the country's trying to be all like each other. Then they don't have any motivation to innovate and to try new things and to improve. And so competition, if done well, where everyone can win, feeds that innovation and prosperity.
And the other thing I was thinking of when both of you were speaking about that was the newsies. You know, when you've got monopolies, when you've got someone who feels that they need power, and so nobody else can be in their form of business, and money and power take over and make a monopoly, then that also is not competition, even though it can happen in a free market. When you lose the competition, you lose the benefits.
Good.
So free market isn't always competition either.
That's true. Good, this was interesting.